We have the smartest audience in the world. Want to ask Congressman Mark Pocan about the nuclear paradox. Is the world safer because of nuclear weapons? Tell us your thoughts in the comments and subscribe. So let's pick up some phone calls here and get going with Middays with Mark, Thursday edition here today. Jared in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. You're on the air with Congressman Mark Pocan.
Hello, Tom, and hello, Congressman Pocan. Boy, what a crazy week. You have this Cohen testimony. You have the Trump talks in Hanoi with Kim Jong-un. You have this potential spark of World War III with India and Pakistan, and which isn't even getting any media coverage at all in corporate media. And that's kind of what I'm calling about. Congressman Pocan, there's a paradox with nuclear weapons. On the one hand, we haven't had a world war since nuclear weapons were invented. And in a lot of ways, it kind of, if we didn't have nuclear weapons, I predict we would have seen a third world war, which probably would have killed billions of people by this point. The question is, how do we, is there any way we can push for a global UN treaty that will dramatically reduce nuclear weapons, these stockpiles of nuclear weapons around the world? And I'm not just talking about India or Pakistan or North Korea or anything like that, because I generally think that if they didn't have nuclear weapons, we'd be seeing bloodbaths all around, but a gradual reduction, including in the United States and Russia, and I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with the idea that it's nuclear weapons is right. We haven't had some of the interactions, negative interactions around the world, but I do totally agree that whatever we can do to try to take up some of that supply that's out there would put us in a better place. And unfortunately, the president just signed off of an old treaty. And I personally think, when you look at the military-industrial complex, this is one great profit center that's out there. This is an area maybe Donald Trump has figured out how to make a nickel. But I worry about the direction of this administration and some of the people he's bringing back into foreign policy and what that means for the planet. So I would love to see a much more aggressive stance, getting rid of nuclear weapons across the globe. I think we should be doing that, but I think the direction under this administration has been just the opposite.
John in Cumberland, Maryland. Hey, John, what's on you're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, Congressman. I want to thank you for your service as a progressive in Congress. Really appreciate it. My question has to do with the Iran nuclear deal. And I believe that the greatest benefit from the deal was a safeguard against AIPAC, neocons, and Trump stampeding us into a bogus war with Iran based on lies that could have been challenged and deflated by the cadre of inspectors enforcing the treaty. I'm afraid Trump is going to get us into a war on the threshold of the election or before. Why aren't we hearing a word from Congress, the news, or even anti-war activists about this essential purpose of the treaty?
Yeah, so John, maybe it's not getting out in mainstream media, but it's definitely talked about here. I mean, a lot of us were whipping that vote. We were very proud to get that put in place so that we could quit having this stupid, unending fight with Iran that some really want us to continue to have, right? The whole fight that we're doing in Yemen right now and the resolution that we passed in the House and the Senate trying to stop U.S. involvement is because they're still saying Iran is a proxy somehow. I mean, that fight has got us into a lot of other issues that we don't need to ever be in. So it's certainly talked about. I certainly think the reasons were not about Iran not complying, but more about trying to make Iran the boogeyman again, because fear works well for Republicans and conservatives, and especially for some who want to make Iran in that region the boogeyman again, because it works for their narrative about international issues. But it is get talked about around here, and it was an issue that had a lot of passion from our Democratic leadership when we passed it as well.